All right there, fellow aviators. In the previous video, we were talking about point selection and dead reckoning, the way that you needed to easily be able to distinguish the heading and amount of time you would fly in order to arrive at a point, even if you could not see it, okay? So that's called dead reckoning, short for deduced reckoning. Okay, here's some things you can do to help clean up your map a little bit so that it's much more usable when you're out there actually flying the airplane. The first and most important thing you can possibly do is rename these lat longs so that they are readable to a human, not a machine, right? So here's the way you do that. Go ahead and select the point you want, the very southernmost tip of Aurora Reservoir. Then, instead of just selecting the point, push more. Details, save, and rename it to whatever you would like it to be. It needs to be something that means something to you. Okay, I've typed reservoir. Save. Oops, I already have that point. I'm just going to call it res. Reser, how about that? Save. Back. And now, instead of selecting this random point, select your point, call it reser. All right, because you wanted to go from APA to reservoir, not APA to number, number. Then we're going to make Strasbourg a point. I've already done it. Okay, I'm just going to select it. Rosenberg Reservoir. I've already done it. I'm just going to select it. The Brush Airport. Brush Muni. Okay. I like that you're following the road. That's a great funneling feature. But let's go ahead and select Sterling just so we don't have to type as many words. And then finally Sydney Airport. Now we're going from, wait, what? Oh man, we're not going from word to word. We're going from word to word dot word. Okay, we still have something that's relatively difficult to understand, and it's possible to mess it up. And you know my standard, it has to be so easy that it's impossible to mess up. Here's what we're going to do. Go into your settings, select nav log columns. Select leg only. It's going to be defaulted to both. Select leg only. That's going to get rid of the totals. Watch this. Go back to maps. And look at that, the difference when you get all those totals out of there. And it doesn't matter, you still have your totals here anyways, okay? So that is so much cleaner and easier to read. And often what will happen is if it's just dots, I'll say to the client, you know, what time are we going to be at our next checkpoint? They look here and they start adding these numbers to whatever time they reached their previous checkpoint. So you reach the lake, I let you do everything, and as soon as you get quiet and stop talking, I say, well, what time are we going to be at your next checkpoint? And they start trying to do math in the cockpit. Okay, well, knowing that you're looking at the wrong line is super handy. Okay, so being able to read words is huge. It's absolutely huge. And then secondly, there's another piece of knowledge that would have saved that person is knowing that this number right here is always being calculated by the computer. The remainings are. Okay, so those are real-time data, and if you have the wherewithal to just read this number, then you have recalculated your estimated time of arrival, and you're authorized to use your computer to recalculate it. You see what I'm saying? So that is super cool and highly powerful technology, and it makes something that used to be relatively difficult, and it makes it into the easiest thing you can possibly do. Simply look at a screen and say the words that it says right there. Okay, so it'll have updated information once this iPad is put into motion. Okay, so now this is, man, huge difference, right? And I lost the other video. I'm not sure if I told you guys already. It's usually this point where things start to explode for most people. You level off, you get all those things done we talked about, and we get to the first checkpoint. You're sitting there, you're hoping things are going okay, you're holding your altitude plus or minus 200 feet, and I say to you, what time are we going to be at our next checkpoint? And all of a sudden, the cabin just gets filled with smoke. You know, you can tell there's a helmet fire going on. And the way you alleviate that is have your procedures memorized and chair fly them and know what you're supposed to do. It's only like 4 or 5 things. It really isn't that complicated. But something you can do to really help yourself out is drop some points right here and then turn them on. Okay, so let's go into our user content. I'm just going to show you. It's in here under user content. User waypoints, they're all here. Okay, don't worry about that, it's not too important. What you need to know though is that perhaps you want to see your user waypoints. Scroll down here under layers, go to user waypoints, turn it on. Now, all the points you've relabeled, you can see my reservoir res, all the points you've made are there. You might consider leaving yourself some notes. Can you guys see that I wrote activate on 122.2, following on 132.75? Maybe your instructor just keeps haggling because you forgot to run the climb checklist. Well, let's see here. Let's go drop a point, type more, details, save, climb checklist. Oh, no spaces. Sorry, no spaces or special characters. That's super annoying. Come on, ForeFlight. Okay, here we go. Save. Done. Get out of there. Climb check. So you can write little notes to yourself and have those on the screen. I would say, you know, the ForeFlight is not a crutch, right? Like, you should be able to fly an airplane without ForeFlight. But a couple of these along the way, you know, I would do it if I, you know, if there's something that you habitually keep forgetting to do, for the love of all that's holy, go ahead and leave yourself a little note. Why not? It just helps things along. Okay, well, anyways, that's all I have to say about the pilotage and dead reckoning portion. I think you guys have the idea. We're going to move on and talk about electronic navigation, and after that, we'll do a little summary, kind of what you can expect, some of the questions you could expect to hear on your stage check or check ride. Hey, thanks a lot. I can see I'm already getting long-winded. I'm up to 6.5 minutes. I'm really trying to target 5 minutes. I apologize. I'll behave myself next time. Thanks. See you soon.